It was a similar story at Lavers Hill Primary near Cape Otway. Classes were called off, but many parents couldn't be contacted.
Our concern was that those children, and the rate the snow was falling, that we may not actually get them home by the end of the day.
In Ballarat, it was just 1 degree when the snow came tumbling down.
Well, it's cold enough too, and it's been coming for days, so that's really good.
At nearby Balan, residents had an extra chore to perform before they were able to drive their cars to work.
Just getting the ice off the cars for the kids and all that. That's about it.
Good dad?
I'll hope so.
But at Falls Creek, where there were heavy falls, the problem was more about finding the car. And all the alpine resorts welcomed the wintry blast.
We've got plenty of snow that's going to set us up for the rest of the season. It's looking fantastic.
And a kind gesture from unionist members who handed out hundreds of warm coats to the needy to help them get through the remainder of winter. The Weather Bureau was anticipating snow in the city, but not a single flake fell throughout the day.
A lot of townships at or near sea level have been affected. Melbourne City seems to have evaporated and missed us.
It's officially Melbourne's coldest August day since 1970. The mercury crept into double figures in the early afternoon, but lingered around 9 for most of the day. Heath O'Loughlin, 7 News.
A forensic psychologist has warned that serial sex offender Mr. Baldy will strike again within 15 years unless he's supervised. In a report to the county court, a psychologist said there's a 39% chance of the notorious child rapist reoffending in 5 years and a 54% chance of that happening within 15 years unless he is monitored. Earlier this week, Mr. Baldy, or Brian Keith Jones, agreed to be monitored for 15 years, the longest period available under tough new laws. Joe Korp has visited his wife's body 2 days before her funeral. He spent a little over an hour at the parlour handling the arrangements, bail conditions preventing him from attending his wife's funeral on Friday. Mrs. Korp will be cremated following a requiem mass, but her husband maintains Maria wanted to be buried. ASIO is closely examining a new Al-Qaeda video that seems to have an Australian man boasting about an attack that killed US troops in Afghanistan. The pictures appear to be genuine, and language experts say so does the man's accent.
We've seen and heard this type of thing so many times before, but never with this accent.
South America, the honourable sons and daughters of Islam will not sit down watching you spread your evil and immorality and infidelity to our land.
Linguistics experts say there's little doubt that voice has Australian origins.
There are quite considerable markers, in fact, more markers of Australian English than anything else.
As you kill us, you will be killed. As you bomb us, you will be bombed.
The 2-hour tape includes an attack on US Special Forces in Afghanistan 6 weeks ago. They show off one victim's ID, brandish his weapons. Experts say it all looks genuine.
Particularly captured US equipment, which appears to be US Special Forces equipment, would sort of dictate that it is fairly authentic.
16 died on that mission, the worst loss of life in US Special Forces history. And now, it seems, an Australian was involved. The government's trying to track him down.
That will be extremely difficult to do, but experts will be having a look at that.
They've confirmed that ASIO and the Federal Police are examining the tapes in forensic detail, trying to work out who he is, where he's from, and particularly who his associates back here might be. There's not much to work with. The eyes, the hands, and that voice, all they have.
The Muslim world is not your backyard.
Chris Reason, 7 News.
Protesters have clashed with police on a day of national action against the Howard government's push to end compulsory student unionism. Here in Melbourne, the Liberal Party's headquarters were targeted.
Police weren't the target, but they copped it anyway. The Prime Minister was given a spray as a group of young Liberals came eye to eye with thousands of protesters. As the ducking and weaving continued, Liberal Party headquarters became the canvas for their frustration.
We support BSU!
Melbourne's National Day of Action began at the State Library. The crowd fired up by the attack on compulsory student unionism.
We can beat back BSU in its entirety!
There was traffic disruption as students moved through the city. At Melbourne University, a 27-metre crane with wrecker's ball took the cause to new heights.
We're going to continue to demonstrate until the government backs off.
And there was violence in Sydney after police pulled a demonstrator from the crowd. A tug of war erupted, but no one wanted to give ground. The officers were outnumbered and their man got away. Rebecca Madden, 7 News.
A former North Melbourne champion footballer and a top restaurateur are among 5 people charged over a $30 million university fraud. Kangaroos premiership skipper David Dench is accused of making false claims worth more than $4 million.
Dench was taken into custody this morning and released on bail after appearing in the Melbourne Magistrates Court. He faces 608 charges, including conspiracy to defraud and obtaining property by deception. The charges relate to an alleged $30 million fraud on Victoria University, with Dench accused of rorting $4.7 million. It's alleged he conspired with others, including racing trainer John Capellan, tendering for maintenance work at inflated prices or charging for work never done. Dench's lawyer told the court there is no suggestion his client personally received the $4.7 million.
He now has the opportunity of considering the allegations which have been made against him, and in an appropriate forum will be confronting his accusers.
4 others were also charged today, including Sarah Harvey, who runs Harvey's restaurant in South Yarra. She's accused of receiving almost $6,500 after allegedly writing false invoices for diners linked to Victoria University. All 5 have been ordered to return to court in November. Anastasia Salomastrakis, 7 News.
Electric cars and push bikes are back on Victoria's transport agenda thanks to soaring petrol prices. And unfortunately, the experts say drivers will be paying more at the pump for a while longer yet.
The days of petrol being less than $1 a litre are long gone. Try a record high of nearly $1.24 and Melbourne motorists are less than impressed.
This is outrageous. It's just unbelievable. Absolute disgrace, and this double taxing's a load of rubbish.
The petrol companies blame the increase on yesterday's record oil price, but the RACV will tell you that dearer fuel is still weeks away from your local servo.
They would have bought it last week probably at $1.09, so quite frankly I think there's a little bit of greed going on here.
In 1999 the average cost of fuel was 66 cents a litre. Now, just 7 years later, the price has almost doubled. That means drivers of cars like Commodores and Falcons will be forced to pay up to $70 a tank.
Yeah, about $700 a fortnight.
But for those who are feeling the pinch at the pump, the experts say there are certain alternatives that will save you money. It may mean selling the 4-wheel drive, but this hybrid car from Toyota claims to double your kilometres per tank. It runs off a combination of a petrol and electric engine that recharges as you drive.
In the future, all vehicles, all model ranges will have hybrids available.
David Cumming from the RACV has an even cheaper option.
The other alternative, of course, is the bicycle and public transport.
Jonathan Creek, 7 News.
After 4 failed attempts and a switch of landing strips, the Space Shuttle Discovery finally touched down last night. NASA's calling it a successful mission, but serious doubts remain about whether shuttles will ever fly again.
Just over 10 miles to touchdown for Discovery.
Infrared cameras followed Discovery's final approach.
Houston, Discovery has the runway in sight.
After 14 days and more than 9 million kilometres,
main gear touchdown, and Discovery is home.
The hour-long descent from orbit ended with a perfect landing. Back on solid ground, the crew took a close-up look at Discovery's heat shield.
Mission Specialist Andy Thomas also inspecting Discovery.
It was the last space flight for Australia's Andy Thomas.
All has gone well, and I'm absolutely over the moon, frankly, and just waiting to hear from him.
The shuttle was to have landed in Florida, but heavy thunderstorms forced its diversion to California. With the Columbia disaster in mind, Discovery avoided flying over heavily populated areas.
Today we honored the Columbia crew. We brought Discovery home safely. It's a great day.
Discovery may have made it home safely, but with the fleet still grounded, the big question now for NASA is when or even if the shuttle will fly again. At the Kennedy Space Center, Mike Amor, 7 News.
Coming up next, which bank has recorded Australia's biggest ever profit? Also lining up to find out what those family heirlooms are really worth. And Spain's backflipping bullfighters. Victoria's leaders are claiming victory in the fight against crime. But while the figures are generally down, homicides and assaults are up. State political reporter Brendan Donoghue has the story.
The BRAC's Government and Chief Commissioner joined forces to trumpet the figures, the best results since 1993.
We can really say we have one of the safest states in Australia.
Compared to last year, the overall crime rate is down 7.3%. Property crime, drug offences, car theft and robbery are all significantly down.
We don't need to live in a state where crime is out of control. We need to live in a state that's safe.
But some serious crimes continue to rise, including assaults, abduction and kidnapping, sexual assaults and homicides.
It just tells us that with more police, we could do better.
But the Police Association now agrees with Christine Nixon that 600 extra officers will be on the beat by November next year, as promised at the last election. And still on police matters, there's embarrassment for the government tonight, with a leaked document showing the initial poor resourcing of the Office of Police Integrity. This damning police memo spells out how the crime-fighting office started with few resources, including no protected or confidential document systems.
We started with a stuff-up, add a pinch of government deceit, and you've got a cover-up.
Brendan Donoghue, 7 News.
The Commonwealth Bank has created Australian corporate history by posting a monster profit of nearly $4 billion. And the bank's bosses say there's more to come.
When David Murray started as a 17-year-old teller in a local Sydney branch, he probably didn't think he'd one day lead the bank to its biggest ever annual profit.
We've made great progress for our customers and our people.
Driven by credit cards and home loans, the bank made almost $4 billion, 55% up on last year.
It's an incredible profit result, but we say it's come at the expense of customers and staff.
Staff like Anne O'Farrell. She invested 32 years of her life at the bank and was retrenched last year. One of nearly 20,000 workers who've lost their jobs under David Murray's reign.
It's very disturbing from my point of view, having worked for them for so long. You would like to see that ploughed back into it.
Bank CEO David Murray also has a healthy bank balance. He retires this week with a $28 million golden handshake. That's nearly $1 million for each year he's worked for the company. Samantha Armitage, 7 News.
The share market has continued its record-breaking run, the All Ordinaries adding another 10 points today. But Commonwealth Bank shares, despite the massive profit, slid 83 cents. Coca-Cola Amatil gained 3% and BHP Billiton was up 11 cents. The Australian dollar's down against most of the major currencies, buying 76.34 US cents. Overseas again now, and firemen are battling a huge blaze at a chemical plant near Detroit in the US. Witnesses report hearing explosions as the flames took hold, but the exact cause isn't known. Homes within a kilometre radius of the plant have been evacuated, and authorities say no one has been injured. And 10 months after the death of actor Christopher Reeve, his widow has announced she's fighting lung cancer. 44-year-old Dana Reeve says she's optimistic about her prognosis, and like 15% of lung cancer patients, she has never smoked. A special event in Melbourne today has shown that one man's trash really is another's treasure. Thousands of people converged on the exhibition building with their weird and wonderful family heirlooms, and some were hoping to cash in.
They turned out in their hundreds, clutching, carrying and pushing the most diverse array of belongings imaginable.
It's called Dismal Desmond by name, and he looks about that way too.
I just bought it at an antique fair last year and just wanted to know a bit about it.
They queued for hours, but these were the lucky ones, chosen from 25,000 applicants who wanted to line up to get their weird goods and chattels evaluated by experts from the visiting British TV show Antiques Roadshow. Some would have preferred that their items were up for sale. Will you sell it?
No. It belongs to the missus. I'd get killed.
Pity, it had a valuation of $50,000. Inside, some were left wondering whether the wait had been worthwhile. The truth wasn't all that appealing.
The sad thing is that there's nothing on this piece that refers to the ship.
And then there were some owners who thought their curious possessions were worth a hefty sum, just because they were rare.
It's made out of a horn, very unusual. It's in one piece, and you can move the wings around.
The eclectic lot had the TV show's producers reeling.
We always had great ambitions that this would prove to be an exciting venue for us, and it's been terrific.
Norm Beeman, 7 News.
Now, just before sports, Spanish acrobats have put a new twist on the traditional bullfight. They've put down their capes and swords and are backflipping themselves out of harm's way. It may well be like a red rag to a bull, but the matador's acrobatic skills are letting them live another day. Sandy, they have a future in politics with backflips like those?
The bulls or the matadors?
Both.
Let's talk about sport, Mitch, because coming up, Brett Lee's Ashes struggle continues. Also, farewell hopes dashed as a veteran hawk calls it quits. And Libby Lenton does it again, breaking her own world record. Hello again. Hawthorn veteran Nick Holland has decided to retire. Holland spoke exclusively to Craig Hutchison, admitting it's a disappointing end to his career.
Holland told 7 News his decision came after hopes for a farewell game in round 22 were dashed. He had targeted that match to return from a shoulder injury, but the Hawks insisted he play at VFL level first.
With my shoulder and things, it was going to be touch and go whether I could sort of finish on that high note.
Being left out of all but 3 games took its toll.
The club had their youth policy, and I had my views, and I was frustrated in the middle of the season and sort of said that. I was just mad at the time, Hutchie, and sort of wanted to do something to try and help out.
Instead, the 179-game veteran began post-football life with surgery to clean up his knee, bringing his career to an end.
It sort of has become a second home for me. I mean, 13 years is half my life, so I sort of appreciate what they've done for me.
His last game was at Box Hill, an end belying his status as one of the game's elite players through the late 1990s.
It is hard to sort of realise, to think, OK, that's the end of that chapter of my life.
Craig Hutchison, 7 News.
Meanwhile, Port Adelaide will appeal a 2-match ban handed to Byron Pickett. The tribunal suspended the utility for 2 weeks last night, but this hit on Carlton's Simon Wiggins. But the power claims Pickett was just trying to protect himself and that contact was inevitable.
I don't know what more he could have done. I think it's got serious implications for our game.
Despite beating his charge for striking St Kilda's Justin Kazitsky is under a fitness cloud. And captain Nick Revolt also missed training. But the Saints insist he is a definite starter for Saturday's big clash with the Kangaroos. Brett Lee's been released from a Birmingham hospital and is confident of overcoming a knee infection to play in the vital 3rd Ashes test. Spinner Shane Warne goes into the match just 1 scalp away from becoming the first man to take 600 test wickets.
If I can take a few wickets and we can win the test match and go 2-1 up with 2 to play, then I'll be absolutely ecstatic.
Warne's first Ashes wicket was at Old Trafford 12 years ago, the so-called ball of the century, which jagged Mike Gatting. And Libby Lenton has done it again, breaking her own 100-metre freestyle short course world record. She'd already taken a quarter of a second off the previous mark in Monday's semi-final. Then in last night's final, Lenton shaved a further 0.21 of a second off the record. And Melbourne's Danny Miatke held out Jessica Schipper to win the 50-metre butterfly. Great performance by Libby Lenton. She's now going nowhere near a swimming pool for the next 3 weeks. She's having a well-earned rest.
Well, she has spent more time in the water than on land lately, hasn't she?
She has, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
Good on you, Sandy. Thank you very much indeed. A check of the Oz Lotto results from last night now. And the winning numbers you need: 40, 27, 44, 37, 3 and 18, with the supplementary numbers 10 and 35. Coming up next, we cross to a chilly David Brown atop Mount Dandenong.
Good evening and welcome to the top of Mount Dandenong, where it's been below 3 degrees all day. We've had some snow flurries from time to time, but there simply wasn't enough moisture in the air to produce good snowfalls across the Dandenong Ranges. In Melbourne, we've just had our coldest August day in 35 years. Yes, the top temperature a little over 10 degrees, and that happened at about 2:30 this afternoon. At the moment in the city, it's down to 6 degrees. Here at the Sky High restaurant on top of Mount Dandenong, it's down to 0 degrees. Yes, we are in for an icy night and you'll need to take care on the roads. Let's have a look at the latest now from the satellite. We can now track that polar air mass across our part of the world today. Snow falling on the South Gippsland beaches this morning, an extreme weather event you experience about once every 50 years. That cold polar air mass will clear the state tomorrow morning, but that rather deep southerly airstream should bring some scattered light showers to the southern half of the state. Around the nation tomorrow, Brisbane should be a mostly sunny day and a forecast top there of 23 degrees. Sydney fine and sunny up around 15. Adelaide should be fine after a clearing shower and 14 degrees. Now for Victoria, overnight and morning frost, then scattered light showers in southern and mountain areas, falling as snow across the Alps tomorrow. It should be fine and sunny right across the northern plains, and the cold southwesterly winds will gradually moderate. Out on the bays, those southwesterlies should drop back to about 10 to 15 knots during the afternoon. As for Melbourne, morning frost, then a few light showers developing around about late morning and then persisting throughout the day. And yes, another cold one, a top temperature of 15 degrees. A quick look now at that 7-day forecast, improving on Friday, just a brief shower or two and around about 13 degrees. The weekend should be fine, climbing up towards 16 degrees on Sunday. So that's the latest weather, Peter. 12 degrees tomorrow, a few clearing showers after some morning frost. Keep warm, top of 12.
Yes, indeed. Sound advice. Thanks very much, David. And that's the way it is this Wednesday, the 10th of August. Thanks for your company. Today Tonight is next with Naomi Robson. For now, from the 7 News team, good night.